go back.
Got my Mickey dress on. Let's talk Walt Disney Studios at Disneyland Paris Resort. Okay, let's talk planning Walt Disney Studios with kids. We knew if we were headed to Paris, we're big Disney fans, we would want to hit Disneyland Paris Resort. Disneyland Paris actually has two parks. There's Disneyland, which is the traditional Disneyland style park, and there's Walt Disney Studios, which actually encompasses a little bit of the better parts of the parks in Florida that aren't Magic Kingdom. So it has most of its nods really do come from Hollywood Studios. It has a classic boulevard that you walk down that looks like old time Hollywood, and it has some of the same areas, with the exception of like the Remy area, the Ratatouille ride area is very Epcot-esque. So because Walt Disney Studios is named Walt Disney Studios, that is actually where they chose to place the iconic statue of Walt holding Mickey's hand instead of in front of their castle like it's featured in Walt Disney World. So for research, we searched out how long it would take to get to and from the Disneyland Resort area. We were staying in downtown Paris. We also searched around for a long time and got our date-based tickets through 365tickets.com. I actually mentioned that in a lot more detail in my other Disneyland Paris video, which I will link to right there. It saved us almost $200. So it is definitely worth doing your research and shopping around. It's one of the ways that by saving money where we can, it affords us the opportunity to do more. And we are all about being able to do more with the money we have. This was actually our second day headed out to Disneyland Paris area. And so the second day, it really was a much more smooth process, having our travel party reduced by half and having already done it the day before. So we took the Mickey train. If you don't know what that's about, again, check out my other Disneyland Paris video. Right on the train screen, there is an actual Mickey head. Lets you know you're going the right direction. The train actually takes you from Paris straight out, and the end of the train line is Disneyland Paris. You actually come up right into the center of everything. We stuck with our same plan of 2 bags, one for the trains and one for the parks. So we went back to the Disneyland Hotel to check our bag in. I don't remember, 6 or 7 euros, and they held on to the bag we didn't need all day. We just had to remember to pick it up before heading back out. Security was super easy. They scan everything. Everything goes through the conveyor or through the man scanner, and it was very quick and efficient. We headed again to Disney Village, again to Starbucks to get some coffee for Mom and to get some waters to fill up our reusable water bottles that we took. Because of when we found out that we would be traveling, we were able to enlist the help of the big guy to bring some of the things that we knew we would need. Long underwear, hats, gloves, several layers of jackets so that we could be good and cozy. In prepping for our Christmas card photos, we decided to get some really nice winter style boots, nice wool socks, and we were ready to go. One of the other things that we knew was that not only would it be cold, it would be wet. And not snow pretty wet, cold, rainy wet. We are familiar with traveling to Disney World in pretty much any season, and if you've been to Florida, it rains a little bit every day. And so we have a stroller cover, which I think is absolutely a must. And we have ponchos and gear just for when it's raining. So while we managed to escape rain the first day of our Disneyland adventure, we did not get so lucky the second day, but that's okay. We kept on all of our warm gear and we just layered our ponchos on top, and it worked pretty well. So by the time we had actually scanned in and made it into the parks the second day, we were in our rain gear. By the time we walked in, I used my Lineberty app to sign up for a character meet and greet. The app is really handy. It's a virtual queue system that opens at the same time the park does, and you just sign up and you get your place in line. They let you know when to come over to meet the character. So by the time we walked up the boulevard, and the traditional Hollywood Boulevard from Hollywood Studios is actually in a large sound stage. It's all the neon and all the fun, but it's inside a building. So you go through the building, and once you come out, you're really in the main part of the park. We headed straight over to Crush's Coaster because, like Big Thunder Mountain in Disneyland Paris, this is the #1 ride in the park. It gets the longest wait time. So we headed over to Crush's Coaster, which had a 50-minute wait. So once we made it inside, we got to see what all the hype was about. You actually ride 4 people to a turtle shell, 2 facing each direction. You get in. It's a perpetual motion boarding process, so it never stops. Similar to the Seas with Finding Nemo, Peter Pan, they use that keep 'em moving philosophy. And then you take off. And the best way for me to describe this as far as likening it to something that people may know in an existing park, is Primeval Whirl, but in the dark. So it's inside a building and there's kind of lights flashing and you're on this turtle shell going through this roller coaster, but the shell also spins. It's super fun. And there's a little part where you kind of pop outside so that people walking past can see what, the excitement and pull them in to ride the ride. It was nice getting to see the Eiffel Tower again. We've missed that at Hollywood Studios here in Florida. So that was a really pleasant surprise. Walt Disney Studios also has a Frozen show. So this one is a little bit different than the Frozen sing-along in Hollywood Studios in Florida. You go into a room and they tell you all about what they're gonna tell you. And then you go into another room and they tell you some more. And then you go into another room. So you're kind of herded along in this fashion where you progress through the building and I think out the exit door. It's fantastic. They come, they sing. Elsa makes snow happen magically, just like she does in Orlando. All of the shows were in English and French, so it was very nice that while some of the time my kids didn't know what was going on, the rest of the time they did. And so they do a great job of really catering to a heavily English-speaking audience. One of the other super fun things that we did was we rode the Hollywood Tower of Terror. Now it's very similar. The ride looks pretty similar from the outside, that broken down, dilapidated old haunted hotel. One of the things that was different was the premise is a little different. So there was a little girl who's beckoning you along. A child in a horror movie setting is much more terrifying, in my opinion, than just the Twilight Zone stuff. So that, in my honest opinion, was quite a bit more spooky. This was another day where Mom wasn't feeding anybody. Near Ratatouille ride, there's building facades that look very French, very Parisian. And right there, they actually have the Winter Gourmand Festival. So they do food festivals throughout the year, similar to Epcot's Food and Wine Festival. And so they have unique foods, but they focus on European foods. And they have these little kind of single serve kitchens. So we ran over there for a snack and it was very scrumptious. I really feel like Disneyland Paris has become the try it out before we take it worldwide kind of park. Disneyland Paris, while many things now have been replicated in other areas, they are very unique to Disneyland Paris since that's where they started. Disneyland Paris was the original location of the Toy Story Playland that they've now taken to Orlando. Toy Story Playland opened up 8 years before Orlando and 7 years before the Hong Kong location. They are now taking into Epcot in Orlando the Ratatouille ride. It's the same ride. It's a trackless system that's set up where you are a mouse and you're running through a busy kitchen. But that started in Disneyland Paris and it's been open for quite some time. Another thing that started in Disneyland Paris is there's a small Cars ride. It's been there since only a year after the Cars movie opened, very much predating Cars Land and Disneyland. So I definitely feel like Disneyland Paris had the jump on some of these things, that they make them in a smaller scale there to see how it works or how it takes, and then take them and blow them up on a much larger scale to bring to places like Hong Kong, Disneyland, or Walt Disney World in Orlando. So it's a very interesting take on some of the things that I know I'm excited about the Ratatouille ride opening in Florida, but it's already been running in Paris for so long. It was so awesome to get to ride that ride and to be excited knowing that that's coming to one of our more local parks. So again, it was another day of not meeting hardly any characters. It's so unlike us, but it just is what worked for this trip. So while I did remember my Click Sharpie for day 2, the only character meet we had was the one arranged through the Liberty app. We signed in, they let us know with a push notification when to be in the area, headed over there, and we got to meet Classic Mickey. We got to meet Mickey in both parks. We've officially met Mickey in every park he's available that we've ever been to. So that is pretty exciting to keep up with that and to be able to have those pictures side by side. Walt Disney Studios in Disneyland Paris also has a nighttime show. If I'm not mistaken, it's projected onto the Hollywood Tower of Terror, similar to how it is Hollywood Studios in Florida also has a nighttime show that's done that way during the Christmas season. We didn't stay for it. This being our third day, our second second full day in Paris at all and our second day of being in Disney parks, our kids were wiped. We were too. We hadn't fully adjusted to the time difference and the jet lag, and we were just tired. So we know when to quit. We like to quit when we are still being successful. Couple that with we still needed to go shopping, eat dinner, ride the train an hour back, take another half hour to get back to the hotel. We knew that it was time to stop. We needed to have as many wins in the win column for this day as possible. The following day was going to be a really early start, and we knew that. So one of the most important tips I can give you when traveling, especially with children, is to know when to quit. It is not always important to get everything done. You should not be jeopardizing everyone's happiness to try to make memories and get things in, because then those memories will not be as sweet as you had hoped. So because the girls still had a little bit of energy and we were leaving a little earlier than we probably normally would have, we left before park closing. We headed back over to Disney Village. We went back to Earl of Sandwich because that's what the kids chose. And we had dinner there. It was great. It was much less busy this time. It was much easier to find a table, get our food, get in, get out. So once we had done that, Paul actually headed back across the property there to go to the Disneyland Hotel and pick up our second backpack. The girls and I took a leisurely stroll back through the shops. And so we got to go into the Lego store, the special girls Disney store, the special princess store. And so then we made it back to the World of Disney store, which is where Paul picked us back up. So our general rule when we're traveling to a Disney park is that the kids get one souvenir. Now that souvenir can be pretty much anything as long as it's reasonable. Reasonable in size, reasonable in cost. So they get one. And the way that they know what that one is they need to see all their options. So once they've decided on their thing, we ask, are you sure? We have however many park days left. We have however many things to see left. If you're sure, we will get it. So once they're sure that's their thing, we get it. So because this was the end of our day 2, the last chance they were gonna have, we knew that they needed to start really narrowing down what they wanted to get. And going through the shops gave us that time to do that. So we went to World of Disney, where Amelia found an adorable Belle-inspired bag and glove set, which she's still obsessed with. And Marilyn wanted to go back to the princess store and get a little Frozen 2 snow globe that she had seen. So those were their souvenirs, which were fantastic. They were inexpensive, easy to pack for the way home. And I decided, since we didn't actually ever get an autograph book, I opted for a Disneyland Paris photo album, because the fact that it says Disneyland Paris is super exciting to me, because I can say we've done that. Paul chose to buy the reusable shopping bag because it says Disneyland Paris. So we did come back with one extra bag. We also picked up a keychain because we could not find any Christmas ornaments, and I like to get Christmas ornaments from places we've been. So as the sun set over Disneyland Paris property, we were walking out, we were finished. We managed to make it on a train long before the parks closed, which allowed us to get back and settled at a reasonable time. Both girls also made it back awake, which is very helpful. So if you like what we have to say, if you found it helpful, informative, or entertaining, hit the thumbs up button. If you would like to be notified whenever we have something new and exciting to share with our travels, hit the subscribe button. If you would like any more information on anything I've shared here, you can check the description box below or head on over to our blog at suitcaseprincess.com.
Cinderella. I'm Madeline Rapunzel. It was just the 4 of us. Mommy, Daddy, me, and Marilyn. We have to go on a subway for like 10 stops or 12. But when it rains, we wore our special rain jackets. And we have our hats on. There was a special Frozen show. And it was into the there was Kristoff and Spin and Anna and Elsa disappeared with her magic. Shh, she made it snow. The ride was with glasses. And the Remy ride just had so many Remys. And the vehicle you rode in was a mouse. It was Remy or his brother. There was a thing called Crush's Coaster. It was so scary. It was like going up, down, sudden drops, but you were moving sideways. And I don't like that way. Yeah, it was very suspenseful. And it was when we go up and down, and that was scary. Toy Story Playland, and there was our seat. We didn't get to go there, but he goes up and then back down, and then up and then back down. The Slinky Coaster was only like a circle. But I went up and down and got faster and faster and faster. In the parachutes, you had to sit down, relax, and enjoy the ride. And then it goes up and then down. Like really, really high, like you're flying up to the sky. Yes. Our chair was really cool. And it will go up and down. And it was full of Legos. Yeah, there was a Lego thing. Yeah, we went to a place called Earl of Sandwich. I did not like their macaroni, but I loved their sandwiches. So we get a special present that's a Disney toy, but it can't be very big. Like a giant castle play set. That's very big, and we don't have that much suitcases. Only 30 get one